Here's an advanced word that will also help you practice your pronunciation. We have lots of different words in English to talk about people with a high intelligence. We can say clever, wise, intelligent. But we also have other words as well. Here's an unusual one, shrewd. To be very clever, but in a way which is able to trick people or win a negotiation, not in a negative way, but a positive way. Pronunciation is quite tricky. Notice we have that sh sound at the beginning and then a r, shrewd, shrewd. We also have the adverb form shrewdly, shrewdly, with ly at the end. For example, when my employment contract was being renewed, the HR department tried to lower my salary and tell me, oh yes, this is your new salary. But I very shrewdly managed to convince them to raise my salary instead. I spoke to my boss, I spoke to different people, I convinced them I'd been working really hard and I deserved a pay rise. And finally, my new contract, I got an increase in salary instead. Great. If you like this video, don't forget to like, follow and repost and share with your friends so they can also learn some interesting British English. And don't forget, you can also go to my YouTube channel, British English Matt, to watch some longer videos and review all of the different things that I've been presenting over the last couple of months. Here are some advanced ways to talk about relationships between friends. Amicable. If you have an amicable relationship with somebody, it means you get on with them. You are friends together and you enjoy talking to each other. For example, I have an amicable relationship with my boss. Even though he is senior to me, I can talk to him about lots of things outside work. We make each other laugh and we have a great time together. So instead of saying, I get on with him or we are friends, I can say, we have an amicable relationship. To talk about the opposite situation where you are not friends with somebody and you don't get on with them, you can use the noun animosity. If there is animosity between two people, they don't like each other. They really make each other angry and they want to fight each other. Instead of saying, these two people don't get on or they hate each other, we can say, there is animosity between them. Although it's good to learn some simple phrases to talk about the situation around you, and you can use these to communicate when you study at school, it's always really important to try and elevate your vocabulary so that you can understand more advanced discussions and follow discussions about things that you are interested in, because the kind of English that British people use changes quite often. And if you are watching podcasts or movies with British people in, or if you visit England, it's always a really good idea to keep up with the latest kind of language that people are using. Like, repost and follow for more interesting information about British culture and language. Here's a quick way to make your English sound more advanced. Everybody knows the word sometimes. It's an easy word to use and it's very useful. But if you want to sound more advanced and more eloquent, here's a couple of different phrases you can use instead. Every now and then, or every now and again. It's very easy to use. We can take a sentence like, sometimes I like to go to the beach at the weekend, and we just use one of these phrases instead. Every now and again, I like to go to the beach at the weekend. Of course, sometimes is easier to remember and quicker to use, but there might be times every now and again that you want to use a more advanced or beautiful phrase. And this one is great to use. Here's a great word for improving your pronunciation and expanding your vocabulary. Susceptible. In formal and serious situations, we can use susceptible to talk about something, to say that it is easily damaged by something else. but we often use it to talk about people. Synonyms of susceptible are gullible, easily swayed, or naive. If someone is susceptible to something, it means that they believe something too easily and they don't stop to think about what they are looking or reading about. For example, many people who spend too much time on social media are susceptible to believing some really strange ideas and maybe doing things which are very risky. If somebody popular or very pretty or very important tells them this is a good idea, then they will believe it without question. For example, they may see somebody promoting a very risky kind of surgery or injection to look pretty, and instead of consulting a doctor or trying to find out about the risks, they really become very determined to do this surgery themselves. Social media influences people young and old, and they are likely to be susceptible to fake news or ideas which just aren't very good. What can you do to prevent your friends and family becoming susceptible to the wrong kind of information on social media? Make sure you think carefully before you post or share anything that you see. You may be familiar with the noun monopoly to talk about when one company controls an entire industry. But we also have the verb to monopolize. We often use monopolize in social situations and often in a negative way to talk about somebody who is trying to speak too much or control a conversation or a situation. For example, last week we were having a brainstorming session at work. We were all supposed to collaborate and work together to come up with some new ideas. Unfortunately, one of my colleagues was talking so much and trying to make sure his ideas were the only ideas that we could talk about. This was taking ages and ages. So eventually I turned to him and I said, I think you're trying to monopolize the situation. We're supposed to be a team. We need to hear from other people too. He wasn't very happy when I said that, but he did stop talking, so that was good. Here's an unusual word that can be good to use in some situations: to be sidelined. If somebody feels sidelined, it means they feel like they have been ignored or forgotten about, or they are not being allowed to participate. For example, yesterday in a meeting, I proposed an idea to my boss, but he just completely ignored me and went with his own idea instead. I felt a little bit sidelined after that. Synonyms of sidelined could be ignored, left out, forgotten, overlooked, or marginalized. In business English, if an idea or a proposal is sidelined, it means we have thought about it and decided that we don't want to go ahead with it. So we could also say, my idea was sidelined by my boss. He wasn't very interested in it. Like and repost this video. Don't forget to follow this channel if you're interested in learning some more real British English phrases. How to use the word resilient. Resilient has a similar meaning to strong, but it means that you don't give up easily. You can keep going even when the situation is really tough. We can use resilience to describe businesses or people. For example, a resilient business is one that can keep going and stay functioning even when the market conditions are really tough. During the pandemic, it was a very difficult time for lots of businesses, but if a company was able to move online or work from home easily, it meant that it was very resilient and could handle a lot of the changes quite easily. Resilient is a great word to describe yourself in a job interview. Here's an example. This job will require you to work under pressure to tight deadlines. What personal qualities can you bring to this team? Oh, I have a lot of experience working under pressure. I'm a very resilient person. I'm able to keep going and work long hours without giving up. This is not a problem for me. Here's a word which is very common in business English these days. Leverage. Nowadays in business, many people like to use the word leverage. It makes them sound more eloquent and like they have an advanced level of English. Leverage can be a noun or a verb, but what does it mean? When it is a noun, we often use it to talk about negotiations. If you have leverage in a negotiation, it means you have some kind of advantage to persuade another person to agree with you. For example, our department has spent quite a lot of money on training us about how to use AI, and this gives us leverage when we negotiate with suppliers because we can tell them we are able to utilize, take advantage of AI that our competitors cannot. When we use leverage as a verb, it means to maximize, optimize, take advantage of. For example, because many people in my department are experts with AI, we can leverage our experience to promote ourselves to suppliers and beat our competitors to the deal. So don't forget to follow me on TikTok or YouTube to leverage some of the new words that you can learn and sound more advanced and professional at work or university.